Hello, I thought I would show you today my homemade American Girl Isabelle Design Studio replica. My daughter had the design studio on her Christmas list, and with it being a higher priced item, it seemed like it might be hard to get that for her. And so I decided that I was going to give a try at making a replica for her. I've made her some American Girl things in the past using my own creativity, but I thought this time that I would try to follow along as closely as I could to the American Girl piece. So to start, I had to find an armoire. I found this one actually online on eBay. It was a used Melissa and Doug wardrobe. Since then, I have found the exact same thing. I'm not sure if it's still put out by Melissa and Doug, but it looked like the exact same thing, new at US Toy and Creative Playthings. If you are familiar with that company, you might want to look that up. It's a good one because it's already white. It did have some pink and purple butterflies at the top, which I painted over, but it had the nice Isabelle Studio shape to it and already had the mirrors in. You may see a few little scratches on my mirror. That's because I decided to try to get off a little mark with a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser. Don't do that. It will scratch your glass. So don't do what I just did. My armoire also came with little pink knobs, and I replaced those with these handles. I was looking for drawer pulls, but they didn't fit. So these actually are screen door handles, and very inexpensive ones that I painted gold and put there in place of the little pink knobs that were there. So that's the outside. Not too much had to be done. I just had to paint over where the decals were, and I used a paint pen for the scroll work that you'll see. This was the medium point. I just sketched it with a pencil and then went over it with a paint pen, and it worked out really, really well. The other item that you see out that doesn't fit in the armoire is the dress form. This is actually by Sophia's. I picked this up online as well. This is technically the front. I've made it the back so that we don't see the name. And it also was in a darker wood tone, which I just painted over with acrylic craft glue in gold, and it covered really nicely. And then for the scroll work, I just again used a pencil and drew that on, and then used a thicker and a thin point Sharpie marker and a whole lot of nerve and colored that on. And you have one shot, and I think it turned out okay. So that's the dress form. I did not make this. I can't take credit for that. I know some of you out there are fantastic and you make your own. So it's a nice muslin dress form and seemed to be about the right size. This is, I think, a 16-inch, which is similar to the American Girl one. So I'll set that aside, and I'm going to open up the armoire and show you what's inside. So you open up the doors. Hopefully you can see that on the camera. I'll just go through the one side. That's the message board. Now, I did pick up a couple things online just to add to the realism. I was able to find, to purchase separately, the Heart Dance Company Autumn Festival program and the tickets. So I was excited to get those separately. These little ballerina photos, I just did a search on eBay for vintage ballerina photos, and this was on a sheet, an 8x10 sheet, and I just cut out a few that I thought were appropriate for the memo board. The memo board is just a couple layers of felt. You might want to use a little layer of padding to make it so that the things can stick inside the ribbon. And then I just traced the little glass inserts actually come out. So I just took it out, traced a piece of cardboard, glued down the batting or the felt, a couple layers of felt, and then the lavender fabric over that, and then wrapped some pink ribbon, just glued and taped that to the back, made that nice and snug. And then I actually was able to get the three brads all the way through to give it a nice snug tight hold, and then glued that whole thing to the back of my mirror. And then I actually used the little holders that were already there for that, and then just stuck in those items for the memo board. And then the other side is the pocket holders. I'm actually going to I had the tape on to kind of hold them on while it was in storage before I give this to her. She has not even received this yet. So I'm going to just remove the tape so that you can see the little pockets. Did the same thing as far as tracing a piece of cardboard and just gluing the fabric over. And then these fabric pouches were just a piece of cardboard, thin cardboard. It's actually a little rectangle that I folded in half that made the pocket. I lined the back part, as you can see, with the fabric, and then the front part of the fabric is just a larger rectangle fabric that I glued to the fold of the cardboard. And then I had some extra fabric which I pulled around to the back cardboard, pulled it tighter on the bottom and looser on the top to create this pocket. And then I just glued the whole thing to the back of to the front of my purple board, and then I've just kind of folded them in, tucked them in. I've taped them while in storage, and they seem to be holding nicely, and so I have those two little pockets. This was the other thing I was able to pick up online separately, and that's Isabelle's little sketchbook, which I thought was a really cute addition. So that's tucked in there. Moving along then, I have my fabric swatches here. This doesn't have the drawers, but I think the little pocket here works nicely for the fabric. And then for the table, now what I did do, and I didn't bring it along with me for the video today, but this is 1/4-inch pine board. I bought about a 3-foot piece, 1/4-inch pine. I painted it white, of course. But what I did first is I used the foam poster board that you can find in Walmart or craft stores. It's just about this thick. And so what I did is I made a model of what I would need, and then using that I was able to determine what I needed for the board. So pulling out the little table, I like that it's a little snug because it holds it up there. So I'll just pull this down. This piece is actually just a decorative wood craft piece that I found in a craft store, and this is just a 1-inch square block of wood that I measured to the right size. We glued these together, taped it, and then just a little hinge here, and I bring down the table. And so back in the back, so this is a divider. I had the handle, or the clothing rack, I kept that there, so I just cut a little notch out so that I could just put the divider in, slide it up, and it's nice and snug and staying put. And then I just used a couple tacks and tacked in my little shelves. They're actually 4-inch square shelves. They need to be set in a little bit so that you have enough room for your table and for the leg. You need to have that so that the doors can then be flush. And so you want to make those shelves a little bit shallow. And then some hinges here. You have to put the hinges on the top because you want it to hinge up. All right, so that's that. Inside then I have the little sewing basket, which was just a natural color basket. Got it at AC Moore for $1. Painted it up white and pink and did a little scroll work. You can see there. It's a little tricky with the weave there, but used the fine point for that. And then inside I have some items. This was a fabric piece that I already had, just a fabric ribbon actually, that's the measuring. I made the little pin cushion, just some batting and a lot of thread, and just kind of kept sewing and sewing and sewing until I got that round, and then put the ribbon over, stretch that tight, and sewed the button on. So that's the little pin cushion. These I got, the little spools, I got a pack of them at the craft store, and I just painted some glue on those and used embroidery floss to get the 3 different colors that comes in Isabelle's studio. So those are that. And then for the scissors, I know there's lots of places that you can get the little mini scissors. This is just a button. In fact, I don't have a shank cutter, but when I get one, I'm going to cut the shank off the button so that it lays flat, but that's a little button for the scissors. And all those items go in her little sewing basket. So I'll put those back in. And then the other item, and that goes right in there, fits in nice and snugly. The other item is the little hat box, which is a little paper mache box that I picked up at AC Moore. I gave it a pale yellow, and then used a paint pen for the Argyle style, and then some glue little kind of adhesive decorative dots for around the box. And then this is just a ribbon around the pink lid, and that's empty. So that is the little hat box. Then for this side, we've got the sewing machine, which fits perfectly inside. I did not make this. I can't take the credit. This, I'll give all the credit to Don's Custom Wood Products. He has a fabulous shop. I think he's located in Maine, but he is on Etsy and eBay. I picked this up. He'll paint it any color you want. So of course I asked him for the lavender. And all I did was add a little silver square there for the metal plate at the foot. And I did with the fine gold paint pen, I did the scroll work there to give it Isabelle's touch. There were hangers that came with the armoire. I just painted them purple because Isabelle's studio has purple hangers, and there they are. And then the little stool, which is nothing more than 2 of the paper mache boxes at the craft store. They were $1 each. They look like that. They each have a lid. So the top one, I took the lid off, found this great kind of soft quilted looking fabric at Joann's craft store, fabric store, and just glued that underneath. And then this was kind of a silky fabric that I hemmed by hand because I don't have a sewing machine, and put under, and then just kind of forced the lid on top with some glue on the edge to make sure that wasn't going anywhere. And then just a yellow ribbon around it to give a little look of the stool that comes in Isabelle's studio. And then there are her fabric swatches down below, and there's actually another shelf here for storage. I did make a few modifications from the original, obviously. Instead of I think there are 3 separate shelves, just with leaving the hanging rack there, it required me to make that shelf a little deep. And so I have a shelf under here. And I just did the 2 larger pockets rather than I think 4 smaller and 1 larger in Isabelle's studio. But I think it worked well for the project. So I hope my daughter likes it. I think she will. It packs up really well. Everything fit great. I think you'll have to measure. This is 4 inches. I think this is about 6 inches across here. You'll have to measure, to make sure that all of your items that you're making fit in. I was happy to see that my sewing machine fit in well. If I turn it this way, it fits in well. I think it was this way. Here we go. And then that folds up. And everything closes back up. And that is my homemade Isabelle Design Studio replica. I hope the video was a little helpful, give you some ideas, and maybe you can even do a better job than I did at making one for your daughter. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.